everybody. Welcome back to MonkieCast. I am your host, AJ.
I am Messel.
I'm Tenebrae Invictus.
I'm Haley.
I'm Starbreaker.
And I'm Sakota.
Right. Today, we're going to be talking about all of Season 2, including the special. But, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing just swell. A long day of work, traversing the wintry wonderland of the South Mid-East U.S. right now.
Not fair, not fair.
Probably.
It wears out its welcome very quick. I've experienced the adult phenomenon.
This is what I've been
Aw.
trying to say for a long time now about the novelty of snow.
Yeah, I've
No.
I like
Okay.
snow, but what we have isn't really snow. What we have is ice. You know, there was a lot of ice. So what I experienced was the cartoon phenomenon of me like walking across the road from my job at Target to go get a glass of sweet tea and like slip sliding on the ice, you know, like an ice
my
skater trying to
gosh.
ice skate for the first time. I would like go up, and because the restaurants are an incline, I would then slide back down because there was no traction, and I did that for
Yeah.
about like 10 minutes.
And that's how
Um,
building up full speed and skating right into back into work.
Dude, that would have been epic.
Epic twirl.
Bruh.
Ice skating.
You have to insert like slide whistle sounds as you're going back down.
Yeah. So kind of got sick of it after a bit.
Cheeto. Yeah.
What the?
Hopefully you're not allowed to crash in. We're recording.
Oh shit. Hi.
and you're like overly loud compared to everybody else. So thanks.
Holton, would you like to talk about Monkey?
What's your opinion on
Yeah, okay.
Well, you better cut that down and sound.
Holty, what are your thoughts on Lady Bone Demon?
I've seen like 2 scenes that she's in, and I was like, well, that's pretty good.
I love how that was
Astute.
like the audio representation of like every spotlight like turning on Ulti as soon as he walked in, and Ulti been like, "Oh crap!"
That was funny. I love it. Anyway, at some point during this show, we might have Leo appear as well, but we're not sure when exactly. So we may as well begin. But before we start, could you give us the plugs, AJ?
Start? Okay. Okay. Right. Bugs. My brain's blanking again.
You're cruel, Tyler.
I could do this for you
Those
if you'd
things
like.
that go into
Tell you
the
what,
outlets on
mess
the
up-
wall.
How about this? You do it now, and I'll do it later.
There we go. All right. So if you'd like to join the discussion for all things Lego, you can do so at the TTV message boards at board.ttvchannel.com. We've got discussions for Bionicle, discussions for Ninjago, discussions for Monkey, anything you want. Additionally, if you'd like to join our Discord server for continued discussion of the channel, Lego, and all things such, you can do so at patreon.com/the TTV channel, where you can join for as low as $1 a month. As an additional perk, you also get access to our Minecraft server, which is still operational. We've got Bionicle, islands replicated in Minecraft. We have Motunui and Voyanui. Maybe one day we'll add more. And if you'd like to stay tuned to all our announcements for the channel, like live stream times, fun events we do, etc., you can do so on the Twitter account at twitter.com/TTVchannel. And that will be all for now.
Woo.
So what are we doing here today, AJ?
Well, we're going through Season 2, because Season 3 is on the way, so...
What better time to catch up?
Wow.
Literally,
Yeah.
as of today, literally watched all of Monkey Kid season 2 today.
Yeah, you caught up right down,
got, like,
right down the
fresh
wire.
in the mind.
That's
I know,
good because
it's so
somebody's got to remember it. I remember next to nothing.
Uh,
I'm just
Write
here for the
down
ride.
everything. All right then. Well, I guess we shall start with the Season 2 special, which was Revenge of the Spider Queen. I'm gonna summarize it as quick as possible because it's just set up for the season. So, Spider Queen returns, takes over. That's not good. And she captures Monkey King and Demon Bull King, and MK and the gang have to team up with Red Sun to get a bunch of stuff from the Celestial Realm and put it all together, bippity boppity boo, make an antidote thing, and like save everyone from being spider thing. I don't know, controlled by spiders, and they do that. That's kind of it.
And they do
Yeah.
that.
I mean, you're not wrong. They do that.
They do it.
I've definitely missed out stuff, but yeah, that's the basic summary. It's the introduction, not the introduction. It's like the we get to know Lady Bone Demon a bit more, and it's just kind of like said before, it's set up for season 2. So, what do we think of this special, guys?
I think what I love most about this special that separates it, obviously separates it from the first one, is just how they flip the dynamics of the Demon Bull King family.
Yeah.
Because you have both DBK and Red Sun playing like important roles, more so Red Sun than DBK, to be fair. But like having them be forced to work with the heroes was the perfect like refreshing spice to the dynamic, because you have them like basically every scene Red Sun is in is just gold. Like the voice actor is so talented and the character has such a flair with his interactions with literally everybody. Like he just excels. Their adventures through the celestial realm, him and May teaming up, stand out.
Yeah.
And even like DBK's scenes with Monkey King while they're trapped in like the Spider Queen's lair were just comedy gold, but also like character interactions. It was just really good. And you even got to see some more layers to DBK and how he like views Red Sun and their family dynamic.
Yeah,
So-
I feel like they kind of did what they tried to do in the season 1 finale with like
Yeah, except good.
having him team up with the good guys, but yeah, they did it way better here.
Yeah.
That's the highlight to me. Obviously, subjectively, I quite like Lady Bone Demon. She's great. And her voice actress is incredibly, incredibly talented at being the underlying setup villain for season 2. But Spider Queen is not one to be undervalued either. The performance and the animations and her own like motivations and the threat she poses is really, really good. And it more than like I wasn't too impressed with her back in her individual episode in season 1. I thought she was kind of forgettable. But she more than deserves the title card for the special. Like her role is larger than life and really cool to see.
Yeah.
I think the show excels at like, especially in like specials and stuff when they have more time. They do a good job of like, first of all, like pacing everything so it all flows really well and you can just watch it and lose track of time. But also just like all of the characters just like how do I word it? It's like they're just they know how to write them well when they have more time to like focus on them, just like even everything out so that all of the right characters get the right amount of attention and stuff. And
Yup.
Yeah.
Something else that's really nice is a distinct lack of what I think is a kryptonite for most children's shows, and that's like a regression of character development strictly for the sake of, oh, this is a kid's show and we need to insert artificial conflict, so that lesson that X character learned already, we're going to make them learn it again, or pretend like past events never happened. Each character is very consistent in their attitudes and behavior and doesn't do anything to contradict themselves, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, definitely. I just remember being floored by this special. I couldn't believe they actually took like the story of the show to like the next level. Everything felt very coherent. I think the specials usually plug the sets, and I felt like the way they advertised them in this was pretty good. I mean, in the sense that they utilized what they were going to be selling in a way that didn't feel like very blatant, promotion. So I think it just like really utilized the assets that Monkey Kid has really well. It's probably been my favorite thing so far that's come out of the animated series.
I was really surprised that they did like deep cuts, like the Celestial Realm and all that kind of things from Journey to the West, like right in the beginning of season 2. That kind of surprised me.
Yeah, for sure. Haley, what did you think of that? Having most recently seen it out of any of us.
Yeah, I saw it a couple hours ago. I didn't get a refresher course on season 1. I just, I have, just glimpses of memory of what happened in that, but it felt very smooth of a transition. It was like you didn't really need to know anything except for the dynamic of the team. It started very comfortably. And Lady Bone Demon was definitely incredibly tempting. I was so interested, and she was probably the most interesting part of the special, because there was so much that you didn't know, but also you knew that she was probably the big bad. But it was enough of a mystery that it encouraged, to continue watching. I can't even imagine like watching it by itself and you're like, oh, I want to watch the rest of season 2 like right now. Back when it first came out. But yeah, the Monkey King, Monkey Kid, great dynamic, good lesson that Monkey Kid learns. But believing in himself. It definitely set up season 2 in that regard for his arc. And bringing in the Celestial Realm that early definitely sets the pace for season 2, because it's like we're going big, and then in season 2 it seems like it's kind of small, but no, it's still very much big. We just don't get to see all of it. But because we're going that big, it's like, it needs to be taken seriously in that regard. So it was very, very enjoyable. It got me hyped for the rest of season 2.
It does make me wonder, like, because I love the format of Monkey Kid as it is, and when we're going to talk about these episodes, even if I don't have a lot to say about some of them, I like the format it has because it keeps things fresh, it keeps things moving. But it does make me wonder, like, the AU where Monkey Kid had like longer, more plot-driven episodes, and what that would be like. So every now and then I enjoy getting the specials because it's like a nice dose of that, straight into my consciousness.
Yeah.
I mean, believe it or not, I mean, it still had kind of the same tone and the same pace as the other episodes.
Yeah.
Which was like, it's interesting because you'd expect a special, like you said, to have, more depth, more, maybe heart-to-heart moments and whatnot. Well, it had like 1 or 2 scenes like that. It kept the same pace. It kept the same kind of like comedic tone where it's just like incredibly quippy, incredibly fast. And it felt like you just watched 4 11-minute episodes, but without any breaks, which is great. It was great. It was just full of action, which is what Monkey Kid is.
And they plant the seeds because they have the direct continuity of Monkey King being like freaked out about like his interaction with the Bone Demon.
And I remember thinking, I guess we'll get to the next episode, but like him being freaked out by it again is like the hint of what's to come. We're going that far. We're going to Celestial Realm. You think they drop it, but no, it's very important that we're still that big.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you guys think that this special is better than the first special, or are they about like the same, or the other one?
I think the plot is definitely better because the plot of the first one was very. It definitely felt like a pilot, It's difficult to describe what exactly I mean by that, but like they had to wrap everything up in a nice little bow at the end. They had the whole believe in yourself and achieve the power of the giant, robot, etc., etc. Not bad, but also not like the best thing in the world. That being said, I do feel like the animation of the first one maybe was a bit better than this one. Not that it didn't have its moments, but like they definitely didn't pull any punches in the initial special. Whereas with
Yeah.
this one, it was stellar in parts, but at least from what I remember, having seen it a few months ago, I don't recall many standout bits of animation with like the Spider Queen's minions. They saved it for the big fights.
Mhm.
But this special had the advantage of having like all the characters already introduced and having some
Yes.
established relationships you could build on. So story-wise, I
true.
like it
Yeah.
a lot more.
Yeah.
I agree. But I was very happy, and it made me hyped to see what came next.
Yes, very much so.
All right. Well,
What came
no,
next?
next. Yeah.
Good for us. We don't have to wait.
Yeah. Okay, so the first episode of season 2 is called Sleep Bug. You know, it's straight after the events of the special that we just talked about. One of the huntsmen, I don't know what their names are, I think they're all just huntsmen.
I think only one of them is Huntsman.
One of them is Huntsman, but I don't know the names of the others. But one of them creates an app that sends the entire city to sleep except for MK, and he has to go, is it to the cloud? And, you know, just destroy the app and wake everyone up. And, yeah, that's Sleep Bug.
A cautionary tale of why not to download Candy Crush.
Was this the episode? Because again, it's been a while, and I feel I
Yes.
probably should have rewatched it. Was this the episode with the JoJo's reference?
Yes.
Okay, because that's what I remember from this episode.
Is that what that was? Because I was
Yeah.
like watching it, and then all of a sudden I was like, this conversation's kind of going on, and all of a sudden, boom, human. And I was like, what?
Yeah, bump,
Yes.
bump.
Yeah,
it's a JoJo's
definitely.
reference.
Okay.
The best joke in that episode. Oh, God.
The dude's name is Syntax. I looked that up.
Ah. Okay.
What? It's not
Syntax.
Huntsman 2? No. I'm just-
Electric Boogaloo?
Yeah, it's like it's just pretty funny. Like this is the kind of stuff I look for in Monkey
Mhm.
Kid, like episodes like this. The fact that they're like, oh, it's the cloud, but it's like a place you can just go, and like there's an artifact there that they need. It's really funny.
Wow.
The
Like-
guardians in the cloud were so funny too.
They were.
Yeah.
Can we just join?
Yeah. Of course.
Put your full name here, M.K.
The amount of
Wow,
like comedy
That's a
potential
mouthful.
they're able to like bring out of it.
Go play MK.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it. So it's those
Okay.
subtle things that I
Mhm.
appreciate.
Makes me wonder what they did for that joke in the Chinese dub, because he's not called MK in the Chinese dub. He's called something else. So
That's
Oh.
interesting.
he has an actual name and they refer to him as such. So I don't know what they would have done for that joke, but
No,
So that makes me
interesting.
wonder. Like, I wish I knew like other languages because I'm always fascinated by like the localization, you know, of comedy.
Yeah.
You have to like really be really careful with it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is just like one of those quintessential episodes. It's not like
Well-
super memorable as someone who hasn't seen it in months,
Yeah.
but it's just it balances that like modern juxtaposition of the
Mhm.
Journey to the West stuff incredibly well.
Yeah.
I know the one really important thing that happened in the episode is this is when Monkey King begins his vacation.
Oh yeah, he like
Yeah.
just leaves.
He just
Peace.
pieces out. I remember
Bye.
going back to back with what just happened in the special, and then he's like, "I'm going on vacation." I was like, "That's a little weird."
Something
Like I feel
isn't
like,
right here.
yeah, literally, I was like, "That something isn't adding up. Why is he just going on vacation?" And that was another really, really smart seed that they planted in.
Just
that
need some
episode as well.
R&R, yo.
I know,
That's what
right?
It was a hard time.
Everyone should take a break.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I like the double plot line with him that they weave in through the episodes, like trying to
Yeah.
figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice. I enjoyed it a lot. Syntax is probably my least favorite of the Spider Queen minion people, but I feel like
Yeah.
they use him incredibly well in this format in this episode.
Yeah.
anyone else have anything to say, or is that all there is to it?
And my thoughts were pretty much summarized,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Zach, give me an essay.
Did this
you're
episode set up
hilarious.
did this episode set up the plot with like the 5 artifacts they need for whatever Lady
Yes,
Bone Demon
I believe that is
Yeah.
the first time that is mentioned. It's either here or at the end of the special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this definitely is when they're starting to go down that plot line,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
I love me a good old collection quest. It's
yeah.
perfect for Lego themes like this. They all need to have one.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. That's everything. We shall move on to episode 2, which is titled Dumpling Destruction. Oh boy. Uh, so there's a giant dumpling falling from the sky. If you spot that, Monkey King. No surprise. It's coming towards Earth, and Monkey King's like, "Yeah, go deal with it. I'm like, on vacation." So him, not him, MK and Tang, not May, go.
Not me.
I love how
Not
that's what you
me.
remember. I love how that is what you remember.
That's the joke.
That was the joke.
Joke.
Yeah.
Still
Not
had jet in
me.
2 seconds. They go to Flower Fruit Mountain to try and find, some kind of weapon that they can, destroy this dumpling with. And, that's when the huntsman appears. His name is Huntsman. And they fight him, and the huntsman is there collecting an item, and, they fight, and just kind of happens. And
And
then
they fight?
yeah, they fight. And then, they bring back this, like, vase thing that sucks things up, and they destroy the dumpling, kind of. They, like, suck it up, and then it
No.
explodes, and now there's just, like, dumpling
Dumpling
innards
everywhere.
everywhere. Yeah. And, that's the episode.
This
I
is
guess
like
you could say they bit off more than they could chew.
Leave. Channeling the
Ah.
spirit of LJ, I see.
It's almost like he's here with us.
Yeah, so this episode is like, if the last one was what I look for in terms of like the tone of Monkey Kid, this episode's kind of my favorites when it comes to like the plot, because like, oh, Monkey King like inadvertently makes life difficult, and it's up to the main cast to like clean it up basically, and the complete disregard he has for the situation just had me rolling. It was so freaking funny.
Oh
Yeah.
We get that first peek of what his vacation is, which is not a vacation. He's
Yeah.
like interrogating the gods.
But when in trying to figure things out on that kind of level, it's like it just causes issues, and it's great. Prime comedic potential. So that's definitely like a highlight for me. Secondarily would be the team up, even though they make fun of it. Like I
Yeah.
enjoy seeing Tang on a mission.
I feel like
Yeah.
He
they
doesn't get to do much.
I know.
I feel like
it's
they wanted to put more
Sorry, go on.
focus on Tang. They even had like the line with apparently he's a fan favorite. So I really like seeing more of Tang, even though most of the time he was creating more trouble.
He's so
Yeah.
epic. We love Tang.
See, I love Tang, but for the sacrifice of May,
Mm.
I'm
I'm like, I want more episodes with like Tang in it because he's a great character.
Mhm.
I'm more just salty about the jet thing. Like, it's
Yeah,
the
I was
best
about to
set,
say,
and then you
imagine
just like
making an
2
entire
seconds.
set
My
and it
favorite
gets like a
cat.
2-second cameo instead
Yeah.
of.
I'm just
But it was
sad
funny.
about it. Yeah, it was funny, but it's also just like I want to see more than 2 seconds.
This is the problem that, I mean, to give some criticism instead of endless praise, this is the issue with Monkey Kid and how they have so many characters. Like, when they want to do an episode to highlight one over the other, sometimes it means people get shortchanged.
Yep.
And they tried to lampshade it, and it worked well, but like, yeah, balance is an issue.
I suppose it's like it makes sense because like May had a whole episode last like season, so it makes sense she'd like have like a kind of backseat.
Yeah, it
because the
does.
characters didn't really have anything last season.
That is true.
So it's fair enough. Yeah.
It was funny. It was a really good episode. Huntsman is probably my favorite of the Spider Queen minion people. his voice actor just does an incredibly good job, and I just love his design.
Yeah.
It's really cool, and he has this flair for the dramatic that sets him apart from tech guy and dumb strong man. Like I like episodes with Huntsman in it because I feel like he's actually like a formidable foe.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Also, they had the little tease at the end where like I think it's him that sees Lady Bone Demon's reflection in the mirror and is like freaked out. It was like they have that
Yeah,
like
the
slowly
tease.
building sense of dread of her just doing things in the background.
Indeed. This show does a great job of it being, episodic, but also like giving you those hints, those clues of what's to come.
They're doing
Oh,
a
Lord,
lot,
she coming.
like a lot better of a job with it in season 2. Like they did good in season 1. It's just that like when the finale, came around, it was kind of disappointing and it wasn't like fantastic. But I feel like, even if that was disappointing, this was still kind of setting up for this season. So it's kind of made just this season better by like, I guess, even if season 1 had to kind of be like, yeah, we'll just do this really quickly and then focus on
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about a difference in like presentation because season 1 was purely episodic, but at the end of like I think 3 episodes they had the little tease that's like Demon Bull King is digging up something underground. And so you had that in the back of your head every time he appears, but he didn't appear in every episode. So I kind of like forgot about it and the plot kind of lost momentum. The difference with this season is that every episode, even if it is episodic, because of the fetch quest nature, almost every episode is still working towards the plot, which is they're trying to collect the artifacts to power whatever it is they're doing. So every time something happens, even if it's a self-contained adventure, you get to see Lady Bone Demon doing her thing. She's present in your mind, so you don't forget about her. That creeping sense of dread is there, and the plot moves forward slowly.
Yeah, I feel
so
like
just the formatting is just better.
I feel like it's a very like a much more coherent through line compared to the first season's one of like occasionally using a minute at the end to set up something that kind of flopped. But so yeah, I like how that turned out in this one more.
Heck yeah.
Yep. I completely agree.
As Kero Kamina X in the YouTube chat pointed out, that the Buster Sword reference with
oh yeah, that's
with
right.
Tang was so freaking funny.
Yeah, he's about to go for his classic iconic staff, and he's like, nah, Final Fantasy reference.
Buster Sword. My boy Cloud. Sorry.
Yeah. One episode at the Cloud, next episode Cloud Sword.
The show does a lot of like referencing other media, even in just like the visual gags. Very funny. Yeah.
All right. Next.
Okay. The next one. Okay. Episode 3 is titled Pig Pong Panic, not Ping Pong Panic. Pig Pong Panic. Yeah. So what happens in this episode? I'm trying to think how to. So Pigsy's mad about MK not listening to him because MK doesn't really listen properly to people, and replaces the the little like arcade monkey mech game from outside, and it gets replaced with a ping pong table, and he's a little bit obsessed with ping pong, just a tiny little bit, a little bit too much. At the same time, Monkey King has this like delivery thing, and he's given MK the task of, to just get his mind off of that to instead focusing on his listening skills, and like has the blindfold, and then he puts it on and he can't take it off. So the episode kind of culminates in a giant epic anime style like ping pong battle that's just explosive and very, very well animated. And and he learns to listen to people. Also, something Sandy's cat, and like weird plant things that I thought I was dreaming about, but were
Boo.
actually real. So
Stupid
let's
subplot.
Sandy's
Yeah.
cat is the greatest hero of them all.
I'm not a fan of that subplot at all.
Oh, hail
I'm
Sandy's
not
cat.
kidding. Like, I just remembered it today, and I was trying to remember which episode it was in, and I was convinced that maybe I had like dreamed it or something, because I was like, I can't think where this fits in any of these episodes.
Spoiler alert, it doesn't fit in any
No,
of them.
it does. The cat gets a moment to be the hero, and it's amazing.
Cat,
This episode was overall just, like
Gato.
weird. It feels like a dream, but
This episode, to me, when I think of this season, this is the episode I laughed the hardest at.
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
gut busting hilarity of like Pigsy going completely psycho.
The animation was so cool when
It was-
It
Pixie
was so
started to go like
unnecessarily
crazy.
good. They went so hard for no reason, but I appreciate it.
This
I feel like
episode
the
goes
animation-
so hard. Feel free to
Right.
screenshot.
Oh man, it's such a good episode. It's metal.
Yeah,
This is like-
that's really like what it just amounts to.
Mhm.
It's one of those episodes where it's like it's difficult for me to comment on because it's just haha funny, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
haha, it's really funny.
Also,
Just,
like Pigsy is crazy strong when Pigsy decides to be crazy strong.
Yeah.
Hmm.
just- When it comes to ping pong, just gotta
Yeah.
put your all in it. I guess.
This is like the one episode I would show my family because my mom is like super into ping pong. And I feel like my mom and Pigsy has like the same energy when she really gets into it. Like on a normal basis, she's terrifying, but when she's standing across from you in a ping pong table, it's like, I'll do the dishes for a week. What do you want from me? She's terrifying. So I felt that from Pigsy.
Right. Okay. I guess if that's everything, we shall continue
Yeah.
onwards. Woo.
Probably
To
live.
episode. Yeah. To episode 4, Sweet and Sour. There's
Oh, good, my
another.
second favorite funny episode.
There's a new delivery service, new noodle place in town called Speedy Panda, and it's run Pigsy out of business. Not allowed. So they, they have like a cook-off kind of thing, I guess, like a weird delivery cooking thing.
It's a
And,
super serious competition.
Yeah, the most serious competition, and like, they have their judges there. You've got Princess Ironfan for some reason, a cutout of Monkey King, not actually Monkey King, just like a cardboard cutout. Yep, and then Tang, and they have their competition. Pigsy and MK win, and oh yeah, the other company is run by the Gold and Silver Demon.
The gold and silver demons.
They're back. We love them.
My favorite
And,
characters probably in the show. Well, my second
They're
favorite
so
character.
funny.
They're very
Every time
funny.
they're on screen, they're just a delight.
I totally thought that the delivery drivers were like being like mind controlled, and then the moment that they got bankrupt and they were like, "Mean, we're not getting paid for this," I like bust out laughing because I was like, "No." They just thought they were getting like paid extra for this, and so they're like super serious.
Those delivery drivers had they had a creepy aura about
Yeah.
them. What was it, the
Indeed.
Speedy Panda? What was it called? Yeah,
Yeah,
Speedy
Speedy Panda.
Panda.
Speedy
Yeah.
Panda.
I love them,
Panda
and I love
Express
their
versus Noodle Express.
I loved
Yeah.
their
Mhm.
designs. Like
Oh,
they
yeah.
looked so unnecessarily malicious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
love how they censored the microwavable like dumplings.
Yeah. This is
Good
another
episode.
episode with like a set making an appearance for like a few seconds
Yeah.
and then just not being used. It's like Pigsy's mech, isn't it? They made like
Yeah.
a joke at the end about like they're gonna have an epic like mech battle, but then bankruptcy.
They were like,
Um,
we don't have enough money for this, which is probably like
Yeah.
a meta reference.
yeah, it was like a funny joke. It's like, it's just another set, and I mean, it's probably for like time reasons and stuff. They probably had to like insert them in somewhere. Just because Lego would want them to, because they have to promote the sets at the end of the day. But like, you know, uh, I can't imagine like if kids watching the show kind of looking them and being like, yeah, that's enough to make me want to buy the sets. If you don't
That's
like do
the
anything,
issue,
then,
right?
yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
again, instead of just mindless praise, I want to talk about like an issue. The show does have a problem with set integration.
Yes.
Not as much in the actual in the specials. I think they do a pretty good job with that, but in the season, it could stand to improve in some way.
Yes.
And I just, especially later on with like Sandy's thing as well, like it's just not. If I was a kid, I would not look to this show and be like, oh, I want to buy these sets. The ones at the start of the wave that usually get used in the special, heck yeah, those are cool. Second waves, not so much. But for
Yeah,
a
I mean,
story
it's
purpose, I love it when they lampshade it. Like I laughed at the budget joke. It was great. Because I get the comedy behind it and I know the double
Yeah.
meaning. If I was a kid, I might not.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I do think that they could do it better in the show, but I feel like they're not trying to advertise the sets in the show, I think, because so far like both specials have always been like a reel for showcasing all the ones that are going to be going on sale, and it tends to line up, the set releases tend to line up more with the specials coming out, so I feel like they're not
That
really
is true.
trying to advertise it in the show. But yeah, they could touch on them better than like a few seconds of screen time.
I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of I respect that it doesn't seem like it's a priority, because it shows their priority is elsewhere. Their priority
Yeah, it
is
never
in like
feels like advertisement.
characterization. It never feels like advertisement ever. But I say that's a good thing because I'm, a 24-year-old analytical, story-driven dude. I wonder, just like I question other Lego themes, like, Ninjago, when their sets aren't accurate to what's portrayed in the show, for instance. I'm like, I wonder how the execs feel about it, who feel like that the shows exist primarily as glorified commercials. I don't know. We'll never know for sure, but like as a viewer, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I wondered in this episode is because we saw like Pigsy's family in the photos.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, is Pigsy the actual Pigsy from Journey to the West, or is he like the ancestor?
Welcome to the age-old debate.
I'm
Still
starting
don't know.
I'm starting to think it's a thing of it's like future generations
Yeah.
rather than that being the actual like same characters, but like at the same time it's hard to tell because of the pilot episode when Pigsy was referring to like Sandy and like stuff he had been through, and then later episode with Sandy, it's like
I think
it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
I think they are, but they are very vague about if it's a descendant or not. But I think the pilot thing is right about like just how he mentions that Sandy's like mellowed out over the years.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's odd. We know May is a descendant, but
Yeah.
no one else has really been like confirmed. Maybe we'll find out eventually one day.
I doubt it.
Maybe.
I think it works in their benefit to keep it ambiguous because they can play off of tropes and
I mean,
and references.
Cough, cough, season 3, cough, cough.
there was also
Yeah,
a
nice.
reference to it in a later episode in season 2 we'll get to. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's basically all I've got. It's another one of those hilarious episodes, but like again, I found that in this show, now that I've been exposed to like the characters, Pigsy and Tang are my favorite comedic duo. Throw them in a situation, the comedy just really speaks to me. Like it's just hilarious. And an episode with them going against the gold and silver demons, it's like I literally couldn't ask for a better like
Yeah.
So
I also liked how the the gold and silver demons, like, was she their assistant or something, had like the same accent.
Right. Can we move on then?
Probably
Yeah.
wise.
Alrighty, we'll get on to episode 5, Minor Scale. MK's been, training himself, getting all, ready and practicing while Monkey King is away. He learns to shrink himself and he accidentally ends up in Spider Queen's lair. Oh no! After a very brief encounter with Spider Queen, he manages to get away but comes across Lady Bone Demon and tries to trick him into powering up her whatever she's working on. Doesn't work. He manages to get away because Spider Queen just interjects the last second. And that's the episode.
Best
But
episode of the show.
yeah, just because of
Best episode
that,
of the show.
just because of that sequence with Lady Bone Demon alone, just makes it the best.
This was, no hyperbole, no exaggeration, the creepiest, most atmospheric, most unsettling Lego animated thing ever.
Yeah.
It was a combination of all sorts. I give special credit to the visuals because they portray this constant inversion, hallucination, pop in, pop out nature of what the Bone Demon is projecting. But I also just give credit to the voice acting. Knocked it out of the freaking park. A++.
I'm genuinely surprised that they were doing something like this, and it's essentially a kids show because it was really eerie.
Some of those shots, if I had seen when I was a kid, I would be genuinely freaked out.
Yeah, I believe the artist who storyboarded that scene posted it on Twitter somewhere, and I definitely recommend watching it just because it's interesting to see the process of it in in its storyboarded form all the way to final. It's just very impressive. The artist, I'm trying to find their account now. They
important.
Yeah, the person that worked on that scene also happened to work on the fight scene between Macaque and Monkey King in season 1, and also worked on
that was another highlight.
Opening intro, I believe.
That was another highlight.
Yeah. I'm trying to get a link
MVP
to it
animator.
now.
I know.
Yeah, very talented.
Yeah, he saw the probably the scripts and he was like, "All right, can I animate that and can I animate that, please?
Can I just make it as creepy as possible?"
Okay, I have found the account. I found it.
Okay.
The artist is Mel Shin. And that is the storyboard in the Patreon.
Perfect. For those of you listening to the recorded version, you can find it in the description below if you want to see the process for this.
Yes.
Yeah, they didn't pull any punches for that at all. And it's crazy because it started out as another episode. I know when people were telling me about season 2, they would say episode 5 is the best one. Episode 5 is the best one. I completely forgot about it while I was watching it through. So I'm just watching, and it starts off, MK gets a new power. He goes down to Spider Queen. They have a little fight, and then he meets the girl. And I remember sitting up in my chair a little bit, okay, this is interesting. And then boom, it's where did this come from? Holy crap. Talk about a change of pace for the rest of the season, change of pace for the rest of the episode. This is a major turning point, and I'm so glad that they chose to do it halfway through the season because it really does change the rest of the season from that moment on.
Yeah. You don't really expect it because at least I thought that the main plot of this episode is going to be about Tang and his food blog and all that stuff, but nope.
It's very jarring because he
As
just
much
comes
as
back
I
and
like
it's
Tang,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
glad.
He gets back and it's like it just continues like nothing happened, and then we get that last shot of him like looking really worried, and you're like, okay,
It like
things are
deeply
kicking
like
in.
messed with him.
Oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
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 Because I think what I like most about it is it's my favorite kind of villain archetype. It's the villain that gets inside your mind, and she
Mhm.
really starts to like pick apart like his insecurities
Yeah.
and how he's
Mhm.
like just a kid out of his depth, and he can't do anything to her.
Mhm.
Like he's just fumbling around. Like there's literally nothing he can do except run,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and it's like
Yeah.
it immediately sells it.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm invested in that dynamic now, watching
and it
him like
sets
find a way to rise up, because now I know that like when he inevitably does, rise up to counter her, it's going to be a big moment for him, like growing and maturing.
Mhm.
yeah. It also sets up the whole idea of like his fear of being not the right successor for Monkey King.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sets up like the later half of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get more
Yeah.
powerful, like right now, him striving to get new powers, new upgrades, comes from this encounter.
Yeah.
Yep. And it also sets up a weird character dichotomy because he keeps this a secret from his
Mhm.
friends,
Yeah.
and that's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like there's not enough good things I can say about it. This is the
Yeah.
best
It's
episode for me.
it's kind of amazing how like it's we're mostly focusing on like just the tiny end segment. Like there's a whole other like
Oh yeah, I mean other
7
stuff
minutes
happens.
of
There's
episode
a whole
before.
other episode too.
I feel bad for
Yeah.
Spider Queen because I feel like she's a very good villain on her own
Mhm.
merits. But I was
Yeah.
like, she just gets so overshadowed. Like every
Yeah.
scene she's in, it's like I don't remember it because of this scene.
Mhm.
But like she's great
Mhm.
as well. She has great charisma and screen presence.
Yeah.
And MK being like trapped in her lair, like that alone would have been a good episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like then you have this creepy individual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, we should continue onwards.
No, I want to talk about this episode for
No.
another hour.
No, not allowed.
Messo, the kind of person to make a video essay out of this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
The best 120 seconds in Lego cinema, and here's why. Number 1, Lady Bone Demon. Number 2, Lady Bone Demon. Number 3.
Okay,
Continue on.
right. Okay. The next episode.
Nice.
Hello, Lady Bone Demon.
Hello?
Okay, the next episode is titled Game On. In this episode, they're back at Flower Fruit Mountain. MK is there along with May and Sandy. MK comes along a VR video game, and the majority of the episode is spent within inside the game, and there's a bunch of bunch of jokes about like different genres, and like it's just a very funny episode. He keeps skipping the tutorials that keep like telling him what he's supposed to do, but again he's
Classic.
not listening. And eventually he does listen. He defeats the boss and he gains like a new power. And that is the episode. This episode being paired with episode 5, honestly, when I was watching these two episodes when they came out, I was like, these are my favorite episodes. They're both great. I just love this this 6th episode very much. It's just very funny.
It's
All of
another
the
one of those, just like the first one, except I think this one does it far better than episode 1 does in terms of mixing, the tech element with
Yeah.
the Journey to the
Yeah.
West mythology. Because you have like stories of Monkey Kings, like villains, and you have their designs of all like the secondary characters,
Yeah.
represented in the game, juxtaposed against game comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how they like animated that,
Can I just say,
It's
like,
very cool.
how impressive it is that they just literally designed an entire video game for an episode?
Just because,
Yeah.
you know?
I would
I
want
like-
to play this game.
I like when they do that in animation. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot of extra work that they didn't have
Mhm.
to do, but they did
Yeah.
it, and they did it for us.
Mhm. Oh,
This one also had the thing I mentioned earlier about Pigsy, where they fight like a pig demon in the game, and they're like, "This reminds me of someone." Yeah, he looks a lot like Sandy, like Tang. I think it's Tang.
Oh man.
And also, my favorite joke of the episode was like, "So if I die in the game, I die in real life?" No, of course not. I'm actually not sure.
Too good.
Yeah.
Like, it just has so much style. The whole thing is just
Mhm.
it's presented with such confidence. You know,
Yeah.
it's just an episode about playing a video game, but
Mhm.
they do it
Yeah.
with such style and such confidence, and they make fun of so many things, like the visual novel, you know, text
Yeah.
boxes, ripped Monkey King, like
Imagine
posing.
like
Yeah.
imagine having to draw that. Like you get like walked up to and they're just like, "Hey, we need you to draw like Monkey King, but like ripped, you know, like super buff." Like you do that, and it's like, okay, I guess.
Sure, whatever you said.
Do you
man.
have a name yet, like Monkey Buff King or something like that?
Probably is. I just
Oh,
don't like
Buffy
know it.
King.
I haven't kept
It was
up with
great.
the
But
movie.
even though it's just like a fun gaming episode, they managed to do like some lesson
Mm.
/ character development with like
Mhm.
him just wanting to be stronger after the last episode, which is why he put all his skills like in stronger attacks. But
Yep. And the
Not-
fact that
not
he's
being the good
actually able to
strategy.
manifest it at the end and destroy the
Yeah.
room
Yeah.
is a nice
Mhm.
touch.
Yeah. It's God, what was I gonna say? It's nice that we were able to go from like an episode that was kind of like airy and creepy to just something really kind of funny and silly and just have a fun time with it, because after like that point everything kind of just is innate to like the plot essentially. There's not really any more like silly goofy kind of episodes.
It's
all
important to weave it in where you can, and the fact that
Yeah.
it still makes narrative sense for an episode like that to happen is
Yeah.
great. It's a great like pacing
Mm.
thing.
Yes. Okay. If that is everything, we should move on. Episode 7 is Shadow Play. As you can probably guess from the title, Macaque is back.
My boy.
Yeah, Macaque's back.
Monkey.
He is,
Monkey.
putting on a shadow play. He's talking about, his past with
The lore.
Monkey King. Except MK doesn't really get that. He kind of thinks it's a story about him and Monkey King instead of about him abandoning his friends, and he doesn't realize it, but his friends have gone missing because Macaque has trapped them in a tiny little lantern thing, and it's just, it's kind of really the episode. Macaque is back and he's goofing around,
Mm-hmm.
doing his thing. I like this episode because Macaque's in it, and I always love
Yeah.
episodes with
Mhm.
Macaque. But like, I really love how, because in the first episode, it was very much kind of like, he's like this evil guy, and you get the feeling that he doesn't like MK. But then you come to this episode, and it's like, it's not so much that he doesn't like Monkey King. I don't think he hates MK though. It's more of just
Yeah.
like a wanting him to be better than what Monkey King is.
It's
And
different styles of mentorship.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
the first
He's-
episode, he was trying to be his teacher too. And this
Yeah.
one, he's more like indirectly trying to teach him something about
Through
Mhm.
hard
Monkey King.
lessons.
yeah.
And he he was kind of screwing with him at a point, like he says, like, why did you free my friends? And he's like, I just kind of wanted to see you suffer, but then I realized you were already doing that to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like kind of like taunting him about like the secrets he's keeping, and that he can see through him, and he knows that like he's just putting on a face.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
MK counters by like, well, you're just doing all this because of like your past, like you're the guy from the story. And he's like
Yeah.
cagey about it because he doesn't want to tip his hand and be like how much he actually does care. about like his past and stuff. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention it at the end, but the mayor guy from like last season in
Oh, man.
Skeleton Key,
Oh yeah.
he's back, and him and Macaque have an interaction at the end, and yeah, it's
He is another
very
incredibly creepy individual.
yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
super creepy. He's great. He's like uh yeah.
Yeah. I really liked Macaque's writing in this episode because you
Yeah.
expect him to be at the same level of last season,
Yeah.
but instead he like just decides to let it go, and we're like, wait a second, I don't trust you. But then he like does his little speech out in the alleyway, and you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you do kind of care about MK. Fair
In the
enough.
first season, he was like more all about the quick and easy way to get powerful. But
Mhm.
this one, he seems a lot more like nuanced, and
Yeah.
he has a past with Sun Wukong. And
Yeah.
It makes me wonder because I mean, not to jump ahead, but like we've seen the season 3 trailer,
Yeah.
and we know that Macaque is going to play a big role.
Mhm.
It makes me wonder: did they know back when they were writing season 1 that he would be like a major player in the future, or did they make that decision based on like how they felt about the character, and then they kind of like positioned him to have more depth than previously hinted at? I don't know. It doesn't really matter in the long run, but like it's just interesting. Like I wonder what that sequencing was like,
Yeah.
because it definitely does seem like his portrayal here is more like nuanced and more setting up to be like kind of not a straight villain, but like kind of someone who walks both sides
Yeah.
I
than
do
the
think
episode
that
of season 1.
I do think that if they didn't know back in season 1, they definitely know now that he's going to play a big role in season
Oh, yeah.
3. So this is probably just him setting up for that, rather than
Yeah.
season 1 was just his quick kind of power grab. You get to meet him,
Introduction.
power set, and
Yeah.
now we get to see him back. He's still
And learn about
relevant.
his character.
Learn about him a bit more, show that he does have some sort of sympathy towards MK, and then he'll be back in season 3 to do something.
Whatever
I'm
he
very
gonna do.
excited to see him again. Woo.
Woo.
Woo. Is it,
That's all I
anything else
got.
to say? No. Should we move on?
I think I just remember being baffled by the allegory a bit. Like I don't think I quite processed the story that he was trying to tell with the the puppet show and all that. I just didn't like catch that as much, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Have you caught it now?
I mean, I haven't
Yeah.
watched it in who knows how long, so no, I don't think I have. But so so this one was probably like my least favorite at the time that I watched.
Yeah.
But it was so epic.
I may rewatch this just so I can hear the story at the beginning, because I was so like invested in what else was going on in the scene that I missed the story.
It definitely
Yeah.
changes the context once you like know what you're looking for.
Fair enough.
I remember watching the episode with I just remember this like earlier on, but it's always I suppose this is the point of it, but it's always felt weird whenever, the story's kind of replaying and you see all the like put together shots of MK and Monkey King. I've always like watched that scene and been like, this feels off. Like this, because I mean, like it's probably because like that it's not actually about that. It's about MK and his friends. It's just at the time of watching it, and like every time I have watched that scene, there's always just like this part of me watching that's just like, no, this is not. It's like waiting for it to get past that point so we can.
I get what you mean.
Yeah. Anyway, right. Okay, episode.
Flipping along.
Yes, we are nearly done. Episode 8, Catch a Leaf. This is a Sandy episode. Woo! Finally. MK. He's got hiccups, not just any hiccups. They're like bad hiccups, like really bad, like earthquake causing kind of bad earthquakes. He might die. So
I do feel like I will die with hiccups.
So, Sandy goes on an epic quest to find, this flower, and he goes on this journey, and you see him being friendly to all these animals, and then, well, bam, the Huntsman's back, and he's fighting Sandy, and you know, the creatures all come to help Sandy when he's like, getting beaten up. But then when the creatures all start getting beaten up, that's when Sandy just loses it, and we finally get a glimpse into the like power level of this dude. And it ends with Huntsman taking like just like a little bit of the flower, but leaving the rest for Sandy. And that's the episode. MK doesn't die either, so good.
Cool.
Yeah.
This surprised me
Mm.
a lot.
Sorry.
It surprised me on a few different fronts. Weird point to start at, but the amount they gave to Huntsman was refreshing. I feel like they leaned into his interplay with Sandy about how they look at life and like why Huntsman was just so determined to like provoke that kind of reaction from Sandy. He wanted so desperately to like to be matched, to see what he could bring to the table. And I appreciate that because it elevates over just like haha generic henchman. But like more than that, obviously. Sandy.
See, Lady Bone Demon is terrifying as a villain, but Sandy is terrifying as a hero.
In general.
He's holy crap! I was not expecting that to happen. Too.
This episode is refreshing because it's like, okay, so you have a character like Sandy, and it's like, well, he is how he is. Why is he like how he is? And you kind of see that. What could drive someone to become so focused on like, peace and tranquility and happy times with friends, and I'm gonna paint a boat. It's like, oh, a battlefield filled with the bodies of probably your dead comrades. Like, yeah, that would probably do it. Like, that's what I assume that is. He had like a super traumatic incident, probably watched all his friends die. And like, yeah, now he wants like nothing to do with violence. That's the kind of thing that would make someone become like a hardcore pacifist.
Yeah.
And I buy it completely.
Yep.
It's in one of those like frames of when you see the flashbacks, you can see Pigsy in one of them. When
it makes you wonder what's up with that.
Yeah. And I think it's a shot when like one of the monkeys are hurt, and it like cuts to Pigsy very, very briefly. It's
I would love to know what that deal is, and I hope we learn in the future. But the way they were able to tease it and show like not only that he has such power at his disposal, but that he has enough like control and confidence in his principles, he lets it loose and then stops himself.
Yeah,
that was almost most like refreshing. To the like the episode ended without him like beating the guy up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, when he drives him away, he just looks up and he's like, he's sad. He's sad that he even had to go to that point.
Yeah.
The emotion they're able to convey on these Lego minifigure faces.
Exactly.
Is like Monkey Kid is pushing it to the limit.
Yeah.
It's just great.
Yeah.
It's good that like AJ mentioned at the start, we got an episode about Sandy.
Yes.
Long overdue.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we also only get to see it this close to the end of the season, because it's like the hint of what could come, and we don't get that dangling over us for either an entire season or if not more.
Yeah. It's a good place for it to be. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I was just very happy.
Yeah.
Shall we move on?
Yep.
We shall.
Okay. Episode 9. 72 transformations. MK has learned the power of, you know, transformation. He's just not very good at it yet. He sees, you know, Pigsy's like dying, getting taken to Spider Queen's lair, so he runs on down there to try and get it back. Find out that Spider Queen is kind of figured out what's going on with Lady Bone Demon, and she's trying to rebuild her like giant mech, you know, to fight her. Doesn't work out because, you know, the little mayor guys going around one by one, pinching all the huntsmen and like just, you know, screwing everything up. MK comes, destroys the mech. They have kind of a heart to heart about the situation, kind of. And in order to let MK get away, you know, fight another day, she kind of buys him time by fighting Lady Bo Demon herself and ends up getting captured and just kind of, you know, that's
Does she die or like
I don't know.
I think
What
they
I guess
use
it,
her like to power the mech or something.
is she like
yeah,
get absorbed into the furnace?
maybe.
Yeah.
And
I guess
so
it's just like implied, and not really. It's weird because like characters in the show like they can just kind of die and come back. Like the amount of jokes I've seen within the community about, oh, why is Macaque back? He died in the original Journey to the West, but he's back in the show, and then he died again in season one. Now he's back again. It's like a thing. You know, so I'm not really sure, but uh, either way, something's happened to them, and it's not good.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's this episode. What did we think?
So I feel like every season has to have one. I feel like this is my least favorite, just by process of elimination.
Mm.
But I think it's unfair why it's my least favorite. I just feel like the premise is too similar to the shrinking episode. And it's like
Yeah.
it's the shrinking episode, but without the super haunting like Lady Bone Demon scene, kind of like what we mentioned earlier. And it's like Spider Queen could have carried that whole episode. And true,
Mhm.
Spider Queen's great in this episode. It's probably her best episode. It's the episode where we see the most like humanity from her as a character, and I appreciate that. I don't want to take that for granted, but it's just, you know, when you compare the two, it's like it feels like it's missing an element, and that's because it is. Now I will say, her kind of quote unquote sacrificing herself to like buy MK time, A plus plus. Great scene, and if that is the resolution for her as a character, great resolution.
Yeah.
You know, I applaud it. So it's not like this episode's bad or anything. I just feel like both the episode and then how it, you know, how it ends as well. It's like, oh, MK goes back to his friends. They don't know anything that happened. MK is like troubled by what happened. It's like it's just the same episode, like again, and it doesn't
Yeah.
quite hit as hard the second time
Yeah.
around.
Mhm.
Now, the highlight of this episode, the mayor. Because once again, maybe I'm just a sucker for this aesthetic, but like if I'd seen this stuff when I was a kid, freaking creeped out. Like
Yeah.
the mayor's scenes in this episode, for anyone who's seen Gurren Lagann, he reminds me of how they portray the anti-spiral.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I keep like seeing when I see his like visual
I
images.
can kind of see that.
It's like I love him. They didn't have to make him have the same kind of vibe, but they did. They did that.
You didn't
for
have to
us.
go so hard.
They didn't have to go so hard.
The anti-mayor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So again, it's not bad by any means.
Yeah.
It sets the stage quite well.
It's because they're getting ready for like the next episode, isn't it? The like final one.
Mhm.
Okay. I guess if that's
Did
all
he
we have
kill
to
the henchman?
that's I think that's what's implied.
Because
Again,
they
we
get
don't
turned
know.
into like
Like ghosts.
spirits.
Yeah. I think that's what ends up happening to the Spider Queen too, is that she's a spirit.
R.I.P.
We don't know. It's always just implications, never like
They
confirmation.
need answers.
Well, too bad he ain't getting them.
I don't like
Might-
uncertainty. It scares
We
me.
might find out in season 3. Is my guess.
Possibly. Yeah.
Possibly.
Okay. If that's everything, let's just move on to the final episode of the season, called "This Is the End," which is very similar to the episode from last season.
Right.
So everyone, all of the MK, May, everybody, they're all out in the desert training, getting ready, preparing, and then all of a sudden, Lady Bone Demon appears with her giant, big old mech that she's been creating over the past season. MK goes to fight it, but is actually accidentally powering up instead, which drains him of his powers, as you come to realize as it slowly, goes on. Um, so MK thinks he's about to like freeze over and die, and then Monkey King comes in, and they basically just kind of give her the staff so they can get away. But of course, both of them have lost their powers now because she has the staff. And this episode sets up the beginning of season 3 because they're going on a journey to the west. Oh, they said the thing. What do we think of this episode? I love it a lot more than the last final episode.
Oh, no, it's not even a
Yeah.
it's not even a
Yeah.
comparison.
Yeah.
Like they're
Yeah.
on different spectrums of quality.
Yeah.
Roll
Yeah.
credits.
What a turnaround.
I mean, it just goes to show like how you can have a well-earned finale when your threat
Mhm.
doesn't come out of nowhere in the same
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
They've built
one
it
was-
meticulously last season, but also in the special and also throughout the season, so you feel that gratification.
Yeah.
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 And you're also glad that, they don't beat her because it's like
Yeah.
this giant build throughout the entire season.
Of
If
course,
she
you
was
can't
just-
do it in
If
one
she
episode.
was just gonna
Yeah.
beat her at the end, it's like that would be dumb.
I,
But it feels like a very solid finish and also very refreshing for what's to happen in season 3.
when
And I
this,
really want to hear what's been happening to Monkey King.
when this season was airing, I didn't have any knowledge that season 3 are coming. Apparently, it had been confirmed. We hadn't seen anything.
Mm.
But I didn't know at the time, so I was sat watching the episode like, how are they gonna wrap this up in like 10 minutes? There's no way it's gonna be like good. And then the ending happened, and I was like, season 3.
You run and hide. That's how.
Mhm.
And I mean, that's a choice that they made. It was to
Yeah.
have them not actually have the fight, to just have to like get the heck out of Dodge.
Yeah.
And I think that is the right choice narratively.
Mhm.
Now I have some critiques, but none of them are actually about the episode. So the mech and how it's presented. So I love it. It looks hella cool, but it's vastly different to how the set looks. Like the
Yeah.
transition is not really done A++. Maybe more like an A+. Like the legs are comically big. The fact that the scorpion legs are like the way perspective looks, they're almost as big as the mech itself. We saw this first because I think it was teased back in the special. You saw like a premonition of how it was going to look, and then when the actual set came out, kind of like that. Now, of course, the perspective is a little different, but then you see the actual set, and it's like, okay, well, the legs are like tiny. It's a fine look, but it's kind of slanted by how this show portrayed it. It's one of those weird instances where like the set looks underwhelming.
You versus the guy she tells you not to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. So I mean, like I care about that a lot. Does it really matter in the grand scheme of things? No. I just felt like I needed to mention it.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of just like establishing stakes, right? And just like how do you communicate raw strength? It employs the trope of like effortlessly body the thing that won the day before. And that trope works very well. It's a trope for a reason. Having her crush the mech from the first pilot, like without breaking a sweat, really, was like an oh crap moment.
Oh yeah.
I think what they also did was very smart, is that they had like MK use all of, like, I don't know if all, but a lot of the powers he learned in the season.
Yep.
Mhm.
Which also like shows her strength because all those powers are kind of useless. But it also is nice for a finale to show the progression.
It feels
Yeah.
like it was not a waste. The season actually did build towards something. Didn't he use like the video game move and the transformations?
Yeah, and the size change. Yeah.
Yeah, all the above. It's an incorporation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good for him and it's good for her.
Yes.
And we also get to see her actual design, which is epic.
Yes.
Love it.
Okay. So, well, I mean, that's all the episodes for this season. What is everyone's overall thoughts of season 2? Just very, quickly.
Solid. If there's
Yes.
one word I would describe season 2, it is solid. Like, if we're including also the special, like, it works really well in a binge format, and I can tell you that because I did it. It felt so smooth going from one episode to the other. While it's episodic, it also felt it had some aspects of being serialized at the same time. It's a good balance. Amazing humor. Of course, Monkey Kid just excels at their very, very quick humor, exaggerated minifigures, and amazing shots that they can do at both in comedy and also just pure epicness. And the animation is so good. If there was one thing that I would say is like the best feature of Monkey Kid, it's the animation, like hands down, like easily.
Yeah.
And this season like did not pull any punches. Like they didn't pull anything. If they wanted to do it, they made it as big as they could. A ping pong game they made like more epic than some of like the most epic anime out there currently, and it's a ping pong game. Like it's incredible, absolutely incredible. Makes this Ninjago fan's heart hurt a lot. Crossover when, please.
Bruh. The West is actually just Ninjago.
No.
I mean, they're not wrong. We're just the Western version.
There's like just a border, and from then on, it's 2D animated.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of already said it, but just to like put a pin in it, that's my thoughts as well. Like the fact you were able to have hilarious episodes like the ping pong and the food competition juxtaposed with the plot-driven episodes with Macaque, with Spider Queen's characterization, with Lady Bone Demon's hallucinations and all that stuff, and have both sit side by side, not screw with each other, not screw with the pacing, and have a narrative through line that goes throughout, even if it is just basic, Lego villains need the fetch quest MacGuffin thing. It works very well, and I don't come away feeling unsatisfied. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You did the thing. So I don't really even have many critiques. Like, I want more elaboration on the characters, but I also enjoy the one-off episodic stuff as well. I just kind of they've settled into a confident stride. If they can just, I would say the number two things to work on: set integration and balance of characters.
Yeah.
Those are the two things I look forward to seeing, especially now that like we know they're throwing Red Sun back into the mix from the trailer, knowing that Macaque is going to be like a central villain, even though you'd think it'd be Lady Bone Demon. I'm curious how that will be integrated. The new characters we're getting from the sets, I'm curious how they'll be integrated. My only concern really is cast overcrowding. Everything they're doing, like whatever they're putting down, I'm picking up.
Yeah. I
Or
feel like
vice versa.
the only character that didn't really get anything this season was May, because we had like a Pigsy episode with the food fight, we had a Tang episode with the dumpling, and we had a Sandy episode. And I mean, MK is the main character, but
R.I.P.
May didn't get anything in this season really.
Yeah,
You're
I
right.
noticed that as well. It's pretty sad, to be honest. But
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's getting a turn getting focus, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that gets, you know, rectified in like season 3. If the sets are anything to go off of, and like a tiny snippet of the season 3 trailer, then
Yeah.
Maybe we'll be getting something.
Have they said they're
Yeah.
doing a special, or is it just going to be a 3rd season?
I think it's just a 3rd season. There's been
Hmm.
no talk of like a special.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm thinking they've either added extra episodes onto the end of the season, or they've decided to move the special to the end instead. Just to like
Ooh.
make the thing more
It would
climactic.
probably make more narrative sense to do it
That
at the
probably
end.
would make more.
Yeah.
That actually.
I just hope
I
they
would
do a
prefer
special.
that.
Yeah.
10-minute
I-
standalone just doesn't do it justice, no matter what.
Mhm.
You could have an episode before that, but just like the narrative break is kind of frustrating in a 10-minute format.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Okay.
I feel like when it comes to media like this, it's either very clearly and distinctly like children's media, or it's like family or designed for everybody kind of media. And you can usually pretty easily pick up on the difference between the two. One of the things that I will continue to praise about Monkey Kid is that it doesn't feel like it's just another children's show. And if I'm honest, I feel like most Lego properties kind of fall into the children's show category. There's a lot of similar or repeated tropes, characters learning lessons over and over kind of a thing. It's driven more by education and telling a fun story directed specifically for kids. And I like that this is more of a for everyone or family oriented kind of show, because it allows them to do creepy things like the Lady Bone Demon spooky stuff, and it allows them to really get gritty with their characters, like the dark past of Sandy and Pigsy and all
Dead
that.
bodies on the floor.
Exactly. I like that it allows them to ride that fine line and tell a
And also
really
have references to things like JoJo.
exactly. So I think that continues to be my favorite aspect for the series, is the animation and the fact that they're able to tell such a well-rounded story without it being held back by, needing to be a children's show or property targeted towards children.
Mhm.
It makes me wonder what the future will hold, because we know it's still going on at least through 2023. So
Mhm.
we would imagine to see a season 4 as well. So I doubt this is going to be the ending.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Hopefully,
excited
a
to see
bright
what
future
comes.
is ahead.
Yes. And I love that you can only find it on Amazon Prime Kids.
So unfortunate.
Soon enough, hopefully.
Amazon.
Soon enough.
So
Soon-
unfortunate.
Amazon.
Oh yes, funny 2D show about superpower, like kid and whatnot. Sees Lady Bone Demon, mommy.
Ugh.
Well,
Right.
that's about all I got.
Okay.
My season ranking is Lady Bone Demon out of 10. AJ, go ahead and give us the plugs.
Sure. Okay.
Speed
plugs.
plugs.
Let's do this. Ugh, speed plugs. Let's go. Patreon. Go find us on Patreon. You can pledge money, like $1, or and you can join the Discord server. You can talk to people about Lego or other things if you want. It's just
We
come
have
and
other
vibe.
channels. That's true.
Or you can lurk like I do. That's fine too. Do that. We have a Minecraft server. You get to play Minecraft, but it's like Island of Matanui. Is that right?
Yeah.
Help me, please. Okay. You play Minecraft, you do the thing, and you do it, and that's just it. We also have message boards, TTV message boards. You can go there. Discussions can be had over there. You can, just chat with more people. It's all just chatting. Fun times all around. Fun people about Lego. And that's the plugs. My best attempt. Okay?
You did great. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I can, yeah. Woo! We did it. Yeah.
Heck yeah, you did it.
You
Yeah.
can rest.
Okay. With that is the end of MonkieCast. For now, we'll be back soon whenever season 3 starts up. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. But I have been AJ.
I have been Mesa.
I have been Envy.
I have been Haley.
I've been Starbreaker.
And I have been Sakota.
And
now
we
we
shall
will
see.
be-
And this has
on.
been MonkieCast.
Until next time. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
MonkieCast.
Love it.
Enough. I need to go.
Run.
Goodbye.
Run, Envy.
Run.
Run.
No,
Run,
just
I mean,
stop
run!
talking.
Run!
Stop talking
No.
so I can just press the button.
Run.